We're on Akelon Waste, ladies and gentlemen, and Maddles, why don't you go ahead and show us who's going to be giving us a great game of StarCraft here.
Well, down in the bottom right position, we've got the player from the Fnatic Academy, really stepping up his game since the last time I've seen him play. I've got to say, even from game 1, he is the blue Zerg player. It's Miniraser. And up in the top left, we've got the red Terran, nearly a former champion of DreamHack, came ever so close, probably wanting to up that this time. He is the STC, and he plays for Complexity.
So the STC really showing us in game number 1 his reputation for being unbelievably solid. We didn't see any crazy early game aggression come out of him. There was no cheese. He was just trying to harass it, and his macro plan behind it didn't change whether his harass worked or not. He just went for it and made sure he was on top of his everything at home, and I really like that about him. And that's really the sign of a very, very solid player. He does scout the command center first, and the barracks goes down behind it as well. So this drone, unfortunately, is condemned to a life of being chased around and possibly being made into an extractor. But aside from seeing the gas timings, which admittedly he will, this poor little guy, not too much we can do for him right now.
It's to the same extent, though. It's fair enough for that drone. Losing a drone to get that scout out, really quite important, because look at what Miniraser's response is. A super fast third, which just means economically he's going to stay a base up.
Hatch before pool.
And you can get away with that if it's command center first.
You
it's
can,
really greedy.
Great response to the scout, actually. So we're going for 3 hatch before pool in response to the command center first. Immediately getting that put down as soon as this drone saw it. So this drone definitely worth its weight right now, because we have the economy that's going to explode for Miniraser as well. Now the gas is down and mining for the STC. We have the first Marines coming out. Oh, the drone! You can escape! You can... No, just trolling you.
Poor drone.
Maybe he can run around until the command center has to lift.
Well, unfortunately, a Marine is about to pop out.
Oh,
that may have something to say about it. Run, drone, you can do it. See, this is back to the point we were making yesterday. If you could run units off cliffs, it'd be so much more funny.
That's true. I'd love to see that drone just run off a cliff right now. Oh! That was very spontaneous combustion there on that drone. We have got an SCV now coming back from the STC. What has he scouted? He scouts at the fast third. He hasn't seen anything else, but the fast third really gives him a good indication that Miniraser basically did this to him as soon as he saw the CC first. So great stuff from the STC, and a cool idea as well to immediately go to the third base location. He knew this was the most important piece of information he could get.
The STC can't really punish it that well, though. That's something which we do have to consider for the near future, because he's only got a couple of Marines out. He's only just now starting his factory. It's something you're going to want to watch out with. But having said that, there's also the option that, well, Miniraser, he can macro up really hard. They both can just go no rush 20 minutes, theoretically. But Akelon Waste has so much dead space around the map. The one thing you've always got to be careful of is drops, which we saw play in so much game 1.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You need to make sure that those drops don't end up doing too much damage here. And he has to be very, very careful and very aware. I'd love to see some Overlord placement here, just making sure that he gets a good amount of advance notice for these drops.
Well, we'll wait to see what he's going to do. The Overlord placement, as you said, it does look pretty good, but Zergling speed's still not done. We do have the Armory now on its way for the STC, so Hellbat drops are definitely going to be occurring, and that's something the Miniraser does need to be cautious of, because previously all he had to deal with was just very small amounts of infantry drops coming down, not big Hellbat pressure, which can be devastating to a drone line.
Big Hellbat pressure can be frustrating indeed. Right now, though, we see Hellions popping out. So not going to be using those Hellbats just yet in this particular game. We have a little bit of damage going on as an Overlord desperately trying to see what's going on inside the main base of the SCC. Will spot at least that the tech lab is going down on that barracks. Did he see the starport? Yes, he did. So he sees pretty much all the production facilities that our Complexity player has going on at the moment. What will his response be to that? We can see a couple of Spore Crawlers going up, another nice fat round of drones, so 47 to 34 at this point, but the Hellions are moving into the third.
Hellions, you've got to get some kills here, but Miniraser doesn't actually have that many drones in position, but he does have a lot of Speedlings trapping that all down, taking minimal losses from that. I believe 3 drones died. Well, 5 in total, but
5 in total this
two
game.
Have died over in the other side of the map.
Yeah, this is really that was a really, really nice hold, and 4 Hellions are not cheap, but the SC is going to be following this up with Warhounds. Hellbats, wow. Blast from the past, guys.
Warhounds, I prefer them being called Warhounds.
By the way, guys, I've just reduced the volume of the mic a little bit and increased the volume of the PC a little bit, so hopefully you'll get to see a couple more game sounds here. Let me know how it goes in the chat, but in the meantime, these Hellbats are certainly letting those Lings and drones know what's up.
And at the same time, we have got a second drop coming into the main base, so this is multi-pronged aggression from these two Hellbat drops. So one of the natural base actually struggling to get cleared out. The Queen's having to do a lot of work. But
Pacifist Hellbats, man. Here
yeah, they're just sitting there. They're just a distraction for the main attraction, which is the main base. But a Spore Caller, Spine Caller there will not be pushing this back. The Medevac needs to be a little bit careful, gets very low on health, flying straight over a Queen!
Ooh, that's not going to be healthy. And there we go, the Medevac goes down. Link's now trying to get a good surround on these Hellbats, but surrounding Hellbats is like hugging death itself as all of them go down. The Queens will be able to mop up here. Number of workers killed, still only up to 8, so definitely commending Miniraser there for... well, to be honest, for his defense, but bear in mind, the number of links that were lost there were quite considerable. The STC's actually lost a little bit more, mainly due to be honest, those 4 Hellions that did next to nothing. So, yeah, once again, good defense from Miniraser.
Yeah, he's holding off. He's got to keep it up, though, because more drops are coming in. There's another drop down in the bottom left of the map, and ooh, nice pick off there. The Hellbats are still alive. Drones, run away. Run away, drones. That's fine, don't clump up.
It's okay, they're the green ones. They need 2 hits to die, and yes, it looked...
Oh, drones, no drones. Go back.
No, you are not fighting bad drones. Don't fight. Okay, there we go. Wow, it took those Queens quite a long time to get that Hellbat under control. Up to 12 workers killed at the moment. We see a Viking actually trying to pick off Overlord, and this is so smart, because later on in the game, the STC knows he'll have a clear path to drops in the back of the main base, so that's why that Viking is there. We have got some M&M alongside a Hellbat or 3, which Miniraser needs to defend with something other than Lings. And this is the point in the game where, look at that, the Baneling Nest is coming up now, but this is, I don't know, in situations like this, Roach Warrens are so useful.
Yeah, but then the Marauders are there to really help deal with that. This
Yeah,
is just a
true.
really difficult army for a Zerg player to try and deal with. The Spire actually and Mutalisks are the best bet, but that's quite late down. And still, Miniraser, he's going to try and go for it. The Queens are there. They're going to help good transfuses, but the Zerglings, even though they're getting okay service, the Hellbats are just dealing so much damage. And this is now just going to be a mass transfuse fest. It will get cleaned up. But Jarrett, I'm getting a real deja vu from game 1 of Miniraser just not having that many drones out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he has got 59, but of course a 3-base Zerg, ideally you want to get to that 70-ish mark as soon as possible. And Miniraser, he's defending well, but the STC is trading very cost efficiently because of the way these Hellbats work against those Zerglings. And if we take a look at the units lost tab very quickly, we can actually see that Miniraser is still a little bit behind the STC, but at one point before that Bioarmy died, the STC actually took the lead as far as that's concerned for the first time this game, and that's because he just keeps trading with these Lings so well. Here's another example, 4 Hellbats and a couple of Queens and some Lings. They can't actually do much against this without all the Lings basically getting destroyed instantly.
The Banelings aren't going to hold too much either because, of course, those Hellbats will tank up so much of the damage they deal. But now in come the Zerglings. The Banelings are trying to get cancelled. The Queen's desperately trying to hold this off. More reinforcements coming in for Miniraser. Just the 1 Hellbat remaining. Once that's down, this will be a lot easier. But 2 more on their way forward. Miniraser once more will hold. But
very close.
Very close.
That was actually quite an even trade there as far as resources. The STC just continuously pumping units in here, and I think he's happy to do that because he recognizes he's on 3 bases right now against the 3 bases of Miniraser, and I think he's saying, look, if I just stay on 3 base and keep trading, I'll eventually be able to whittle my opponent down because he's not taking a 4th. Non-stop aggression from the STC here in game number 2.
Now, Miniraser does have +1 air weapons coming down, but no Mutalisks as of yet. He doesn't have the minerals to do it, or the gas really, because he's been forced to make some Banelings to just try and hold off this aggression time and time again. But in come the Banelings. We saw in game 1 that he had great connections with these. Can he do the same again? Well, STC splitting like a champ, but it's not enough at the moment. Miniraser has forced this push back once more. And now the Mutalisks are coming out too.
Yeah, and the Mutas are going to be very, very welcome here with this many medevacs out on the field. The resources lost tab is getting closer and closer. The SEC losing slightly more, but look at this. Because of that 3-base economy, he's actually up in supply. 129 to 106 at the moment. More Banelings from Miniraser. That's where he's holding this off. But like you said, that's where all of his gas is going. He doesn't have nearly as many mutas as he otherwise would like.
And he needs those Mutalisks out because he's got to be able to stop the drops, he's got to be able to stop the medevacs, but the Marines are going to be a threat. But that is nice bailing connections, and now suddenly these medevacs are going to be forced to fall back. There's only a handful of Marines there. +1 air weapons isn't quite done yet, but once that kicks in, it's going to be really helpful. But can Miniraser hold off long enough to do that? 14 Zerglings are in reductions, bailing's coming from behind. This is going to be a close hold.
Oh, and those Zerglings were absolutely clutch here, trying to distract and destroy the Marines so that the Mutalisks can come in and mop up. And these medevacs are really where it's at. Yes, he wants to keep a hold of the medevacs, even if he loses the rest of his army here. But he's actually keeping them there for now. I'm not sure that's a great decision. 2 of them are about to go down to the 3rd one, looking pretty dicey as well. I would have preferred to see the STC fall back with the medevacs and regroup in the middle of the map, because this follow-up push without healing, imagine 2 medevacs versus 5 right now. It's just no contest.
And of course those Marines aren't that numerous, so that means the Mutalisks can come piling straight in. Nice little surrounds here, the medevac's getting focused down first, no retreat will be available here, and Miniraser now actually really pulling this into his favour in terms of being incredibly cost effective and getting that sizable Mutalisk flock that he needs. But the reinforcing Marines coming in, Miniraser's got to be patient and cautious with every engagement he takes.
He needs to wait for the next round of Lings. As long as he's got Lings on the ground when he goes and engages with these Mutalisks, he should be okay. If we take a look at the resources lost, guys, Miniraser has now still lost less than the STC, but as a percentage, they are more or less neck and neck the entire game. My main concern is the fact that the STC has not had to deal with any Zergling run-bys into his 3rd. He's getting his 4th command center up, and I'm pretty sure Miniraser doesn't even know about it at this stage. No, he doesn't. Only now is Miniraser going out across the map with these mutants to see if he can get some damage out, and it's the 17-minute mark. Yes, he's taken his 4th base, but he's not mining from it yet. He needs to start disrupting the STC as opposed to parrying his blows, because if you're constantly defending, there aren't that many games where you just win by defending. It's difficult when your opponent isn't all in.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and STC really isn't going for any kind of an all-in. He is just happy taking his 4th base, flying it over right now. These Mutalisks, they came and tried to pick off the SCB building if it wasn't quite in time. There is a drop just to the right of the map now coming in towards the 3rd base of Miniraser, but is it going to be able to do much? Well, there's the Spore Crawler there. The Hellbat's actually getting some nice shots off on these Zerglings and drones, but it's going to get cleaned out. A couple of workers did die there, but the vast majority is still staying up.
Yeah, number of workers killed so far is 16, and it looks like the supplies are dead even as we see a huge engagement in the middle of the map. The Bailing's going in a little bit prematurely, I have to say, because the Mutas weren't there as backup, and this is a problem. If the Mutas go in there right now, the Marines simply focus them down. Miniraser needs those Zerglings on the ground when he hits with these Mutas, and that's why he's pulling them back. 38 Lings on the way. As soon as they pop, and they're about to pop, and here we go, the Bailing's coming in, trying his best to split as best he can the STC, but here come the Mutalisk, and they are going to be the unit that wins this battle for him. Ooh, Medevac trying to lure the Mutas into the Widow Mines, unsuccessfully doing so, and a couple more Lings sacrificing themselves, going to opt for a Spore Crawler on this Rescinding Creep to try and get rid of those. And the hive is almost complete for Miniraser, so he's been holding on really well. He now has a supply lead over the STC as well, and it's going to come down to his execution and tech choices over the next couple of minutes.
Now, these Widow Mines are still going to be quite dangerous, and that's the one thing the Miniraser's got to be really wary about. But look at this, he's actually still trading and defending really well. But the point still remains, defending. That is all he's been doing in this game. He has not put on any pressure. And STC is just rallying across the map, happy to take these fights because he knows he's on equal bases. He's got his 4th up.
Yeah, the 4th base, again, up and unhindered, even a Planetary Fortress for extra measure there from the STC. And, ooh, that changing didn't last very long. And a single Zergling and a single Bailing, actually. Ooh, I like that. Trying to do a bit of damage. No, it's not just 2, mate. It's not just 2. And, oh, good God, there's a lot of explosions going on right now. And a decent chunk of that army does go down, but he misses the 2 on the left, which could have been catastrophic for those Banelings. And now the STC picking apart the 4th base of Miniraser. And this is a problem because now the STC is ahead in bases. That is not a position you want to be. A good pick-off by the Mutalist there, but we need to see some counterattacks. That's exactly what we're doing with these Lings, but it's a Planetary. He won't be able to kill that.
And he just runs straight back out at the same time, though. We've got some Marines and Marauders pushing in here. Those Widow Mines. Oh, drones, be careful, drones! They're going to die anyway. Widow Mines.
Good God.
Widow Mines, good units.
Miniraser unfortunately walking into approximately 4 Widow Mines worth of damage there, and like what made him lose in game number 1, so many of those things going down instantaneously. These Mutas will be able to clean up these Marines because they're on red health. but Miniraser is now down 60 supply. He's lost his 4th base. He hasn't been able to deny base at the STC. And like we said quite a few times now, he's been defending really well, but he hasn't made that switch into offense. GG, well played.